Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Apologies for the hiatus there. I was traveling during the holidays, so was not able to film, but I'm back at it now. And one of the first things we're gonna tackle this year is converting my car to a full M Sport appearance package. I got all this hardware here. M Sport side skirts, M Sport rear bumper, and everything I need for $530. I got the hood as well because I want to do an LCI conversion. It's got a couple dings, and we're gonna get into some body work and do a little mini series as I prepare these parts to be painted. I'm gonna have to get them painted. It's not the exact same color even though it's black, and they're not in good enough condition to put on my car as is. But it did come with all the hardware like screws, brackets, and everything you would need to do the conversion properly. So that's nice. I'm not using that fog light, I'm not using that reflector, but we're using the rest of the hardware. So I purchased a few parts. I got brand new fog lights since they're cheap and I wanted them to look fresh and one was missing. I got smoked reflectors, so I'm gonna change those out. I got a carbon fiber full AK style lip to go across the bottom of the bumper. I had to buy the diffuser because that's a single cutout for a 328 and I ordered the 335i equivalent with the dual cutouts. Luckily the bumper I found has parking sensors. They even included them because my car has parking sensors. My car does not have parking sensors in the front and it does not have headlight washers. So this is exactly what I needed. So I'm not gonna be using the grills that you see here, the grills that go into the bumper right there and there. I got a set of black ones to look a little nicer. So I already have an LCI trunk light conversion, LCI tail lights. I have a lip spoiler on my car, and I have LCI headlights. So once I do this, get it all painted and mounted on the car, it's gonna look like a full M Sport 2011 style with an AK carbon fiber lip. So in my opinion, we're gonna make the car look as good as an E90 can look, in my opinion. This is all OEM hardware, which is nice because it came right off of a car from a junkyard. And for what I paid, 530 bucks, after paint, and after all the little bits I bought on eBay to make it look mint, probably gonna be a little over $1,000 for everything, but I think it's well worth it considering, and I think you guys are gonna like this content. So, it's gonna be a bit of a mini series here. I'm gonna focus on body work and getting this stuff ready for paint, and we're gonna focus on the hood first to address some of the issues with it, because it has some dings. And especially up at the front here, it's a little wavy. So we're gonna have to fix that up. So I'm gonna get this stuff out of the way and we'll focus on working on that hood. So first thing I'm gonna try tackling is this ding right here. I'm gonna flip the hood over and try hammering it out. So I ended up knocking it out a bit so it's facing the other way and we can flip things over and try to level things out and make it as level as possible before we put any Bondo on it. This hood came with everything, all the latches, everything we're gonna need, but it's all gonna be in the way since it's going to a body shop. So I'm gonna start removing some stuff. Alright, so that's enough stuff removed. I'm gonna leave those on. And like I was saying, I think it's not the exact same color. This has a metallic flake to it, but the underside is the same. It's just flat black, so I don't have to worry about getting the insides painted, etc. Alright, so I'm no body guy, as you can see. All I did was knock it down a little bit and then pull things back up. Okay, so now I got a 220 grit on an orbital sander. I'm gonna try to rough up the surface in preparation for Bondo. It's gonna be hard for the camera to pick this up, but while that dries, I think I see some little divots, maybe like a little bit of hail damage or something, just on a few spots. So the way I'm gonna verify is just to run the sander over that area and see if you see like a black spot in the middle. See that low spot? That's a ding. So I'm gonna lightly go over this area and look for spots like that. I don't know if that's the best approach or if I should do them one at a time. So while that Bondo's drying, I'm gonna hit the rest of the hood with 400 grit. See if I can knock all these scratches and everything out and make it look uniform. And we may catch some more low spots, but I mean eyeballing it with the light and going after any little dings or anything I can see with bits of Bondo. Now here's the tricky part. Well, tricky for me. I filled all those divots up and it feels perfectly smooth up there, but down here, I don't know if I can catch it on camera, but it's really dented up, as you can see. So, I almost didn't buy the hood because of this, but I figured it's OEM, you know, if I can get this right, it will fit nicely. So, I got a low spot here, I got a low spot here, I got a low spot here, and then this body line has a little divot right here. Overall, this has a bow to it or a curve in the middle, and I'd have to try to maintain that as it gradually goes flat. So anyway, I'll give it my best shot, but let's get started on this. Just gonna have to do it by feel. So that's pretty caked on there, but you know, I'm no expert, so I'm just trying to give it a good chance of having enough on there to be level. This doesn't seem to have any little dings or anything left in it, so I'm going to focus on this part of the hood now. Yeah, from here on I don't see any reason why I need to fill it, so I'm just going to prep this now. So that actually feels like it flows pretty good. A little bit low here. This feels way low still. So I'm gonna rough this whole area up. And then I'm gonna fill this part with more Bondo. So I burned through the edges here, so I'm going to use some filler primer to fill that back in. Where I've gone over with 400 grit, I'm just using some gray Scotch-Brite to unify the finish. Now I got some 60 grit sandpaper just to really cut this down fast. Alright, so that's my final coat of Bondo. It feels smooth and uniform by hand. So I'm gonna sand that down now. So I've sprayed it with primer just to, first of all, fill up any pinholes, but also see if there's any waviness in the panel. So it looks uniform for the most part. It just looks like there's some layers of, some different layers of the primer. So I'm gonna sand it afterwards. And then we'll just try wetting it down, seeing the reflection to see how it looks. See if it's going to seem wavy, but from this angle it looks fine. So I'm not completely satisfied with how that's come out. It's pretty smooth, but it's not perfect. So I got some glazing putty. So I'm gonna put some glazing putty down, and then I'm gonna use some guide coat and then block sand it to see if it comes out perfectly smooth. So I just painted that black with black primer just so I can see it when wet to see if it catches any ripples or waves in the light, and I can still sand that to make it a little smoother after. But just eyeballing it, there's nothing that would pop up or be noticeable. I plan to do the same up at the front here so we can verify if I made it straight. I needed to use a coarser sandpaper to get it to grip to the metal, so I'm gonna have to do another coat of skim. I'm using 180 now. Alright, so I'm gonna wet sand this now, just so I don't gum up my sandpaper, and then we're gonna see how this looks. All right, so that feels virtually perfect. Feels completely smooth, no lows. So I'd say that's already finally done. So I'm gonna go over this thing one last time with 400, even it all out, and then we'll conclude this video. All right, so there you have it. There's the end result. All the little chips I filled with glaze putty. Any little dings and whatnot I filled and primed. And that dent that was there before is now gone and it's perfectly smooth. So this whole panel has been sanded with 400 grit. For anywhere that I had Bondo, I use 180 grit, and wherever there's primer, etc. I ended up mostly doing it by hand, just because the Oberlo sander wasn't really helping, and it's perfectly smooth. I'm hoping to take it to a shop where I don't have to pay for prep fees. I'm just gonna pay to get it sprayed along with the bumpers and whatnot. So this took me a long time to get to this point, but I'm happy that I was able to save the hood. I don't think it would have been worth the labor paying someone to make this hood decent. I might as well have just bought an aftermarket hood if that was the case. So anyway, it's just my time, I don't mind. And kind of shows that you guys can do this at home. If you have enough time on your hands, you can get a pretty close to professional result at home. So next video is going to be me prepping the front bumper. That actually needs a lot of work. And then I just got to scuff up the side skirts and rear bumper. So we'll make that part 2, and then we'll make part 3 when all the parts arrive to put this all together. And I got a few things coming like the lip and whatnot. And then probably part 4 is installation of the hardware and the final look. So thanks for watching. I upload regularly, so consider subscribing. Wow.